The sun had begun to set, casting a pale orange glow over the forest. Lila stood in the clearing, the pendant still warm in her hand, her thoughts swirling like the winds around her. The mysterious figure had vanished as quickly as he appeared, leaving only his cryptic words behind. "Not all choices come without a price," she repeated under her breath. What did it mean? And why had she been chosen? The forest around her seemed alive, its shadows long and deep, as though waiting for something to happen. The air had grown cooler, and the silence felt heavy, almost suffocating. The melody that had once filled the woods was gone now, but the feeling of it lingered, like an echo she couldn't escape. Lila had come here seeking answers, but all she had found was more questions. What was this pendant? Why had the man said the forest had chosen her? And who was he really? There was so much she didn't understand. Taking a deep breath, Lila glanced around, uncertain of what to do next. She had to find her way out of the forest. But as she turned to leave, she noticed something strange, something that hadn't been there before. At the edge of the clearing, a soft light flickered, like a distant star. Lila's eyes narrowed. She could feel an inexplicable pull, drawing her back toward it. Against her better judgment, she walked toward the light. As she got closer, the light grew brighter, revealing a narrow path leading deeper into the heart of the forest. It was a path she hadn't noticed before, as if it had only appeared moments ago. The trees seemed to bend slightly, their branches almost guiding her toward it. Lila hesitated. Her instincts told her to be careful, to turn back. But something within her, something deep, hidden, urged her forward. She didn't know what she was looking for, but she knew she had to keep going. The path twisted and turned, leading her deeper into the forest. The air grew colder with each step, and the trees became denser, their trunks twisting like ancient gnarled hands reaching out to grab her. The further she went, the more the forest seemed to close in around her. But still, the light beckoned her. After what felt like hours, the path finally opened up to a small, forgotten glade. In the center of the glade stood an old, crumbling tower, its stone walls covered in thick ivy. The tower looked ancient, older than anything she had seen before. It felt as if it had been standing here for centuries, hidden away from the world. Lila approached cautiously, her heart beating faster. There was a door at the base of the tower, slightly ajar, as though waiting for her. The light she had followed was now fading, but something inside the tower seemed to call her name. Taking a deep breath, Lila stepped forward and pushed open the door. It creaked in protest, but she didn't hesitate. Inside, the air was thick with dust, and the only sound was the echo of her footsteps. The tower was empty, save for a single ornate mirror standing against the far wall. The mirror was unlike anything Lila had ever seen. Its frame was made of silver, twisted into intricate designs that seemed to shimmer in the dim light. The glass, though cracked in places, glowed faintly, as if it held some kind of magic. Lila felt drawn to it, her feet moving on their own accord as she approached the mirror. She stood before it, staring at her reflection. But something was wrong. The image in the mirror was not her own. Instead, she saw a woman, older with long dark hair and eyes filled with sadness. She wore a dress of silver, and her hands were clasped around a pendant, one exactly like the one Lila held. Lila's breath caught in her throat. The woman in the mirror looked almost like her, but not quite. She seemed familiar, as though she had seen her before in a dream. The woman's eyes locked with hers, and for a moment, Lila felt a strange connection, a bond that reached across time and space. The woman in the mirror began to speak, her voice soft and distant. "The time has come, Lila. You must choose. The path before you is filled with danger, but it is also your only chance to break the curse." Lila's heart pounded in her chest. "What curse?" "What do you mean?" The woman's gaze softened and she smiled faintly. "The curse of the forest. The curse of the pendant. You have been chosen to break it, to free the land from its chains. But to do so, you must make a sacrifice. Your heart, your love." Lila took a step back, her mind racing. "I don't understand. How can I—" "The melody," the woman interrupted, her voice barely a whisper. You've heard it, haven't you? It is the key, the song that binds this land. If you wish to save it, you must let the music guide you, but beware. The cost will be great. Lila's head spun. The woman's words were clear, but they made no sense. A sacrifice, a melody? What did it all mean? As if sensing her confusion, the woman in the mirror spoke once more, her voice filled with sorrow. There is a choice you must make, Lila. A choice between saving the world you know and saving the one you love. Only one can be saved. You cannot have both. Lila's breath caught in her throat. I don't... she started. But the woman in the mirror faded away, leaving Lila standing alone in the dark tower. The soft glow of the mirror dimmed, and the silence returned. For a long moment, Lila stood there, her mind reeling. What had just happened? Who was the woman in the mirror? And what did she mean by a sacrifice? Suddenly, the door to the tower slammed shut behind her. Lila spun around, her heart racing. She was trapped. A cold voice broke the silence. So you've come to face your fate. Lila gasped as the figure of the cloaked man appeared before her once more. His eyes gleamed with an eerie light, and his presence filled the room like a dark cloud. He stepped closer, his footsteps echoing in the tower. You are the one, he said softly. The one who will either destroy everything or save it. But it all depends on the choice you make. Lila clenched her fists. I don't know what you want from me. I don't understand any of this. The man tilted his head, his gaze piercing. You will soon enough. The pendant is the key. You must let it guide you. But remember, your heart is the price you will pay. Lila felt a chill run down her spine. What does that mean? What do you want from me? The man's lips curled into a faint smile. Only what is owed. Only what has been promised. He raised a hand, and the tower began to shake, the walls cracking as if the very foundation was crumbling. The mirror began to glow brightly, filling the room with a blinding light. Lila stood frozen, the weight of the man's words sinking in. The sacrifice. The choice. She had no idea what was coming next, but she knew one thing for certain. The journey she had started was far from over. The wind howled through the tall trees that stood like silent sentinels in the deep, forgotten forest of Nera. The ancient woods whispered old secrets to those brave enough to venture close, but no one had dared to visit for years, except for one. A young woman named Lila stood at the edge of the forest, her heart racing as she stared into the dark abyss of the woods. She had been there many times before, but never alone. Today something felt different. Something in the air stirred, as though the trees themselves were watching her. Lila's thoughts drifted back to the letter she had received only days before. The words written on the parchment were clear, yet strange. Return to the forest. The melody will be your guide. The time has come. Her hands trembled as she folded the letter, clutching it tightly in her pocket. She had no idea what the letter meant, but she knew one thing for certain. She could not ignore it. The melody. What was it? Why had it been calling to her all these years? It was a song she had heard in dreams, faint but persistent, lingering at the edges of her mind. Each time she tried to remember it, it slipped away like mist through her fingers. Her father had warned her about the forest when she was young. It's a place of magic, he had said, a place where things can be lost and found. He always spoke of the woods with a mix of fear and respect, but Lila had never truly understood what he meant, until now. Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward, her boots crunching on the dried leaves beneath her feet. The path through the forest was narrow, overgrown with vines and tangled roots, but as she moved deeper into the shadows, the air grew still, the wind quieting as if it too was waiting. She didn't know how long she had been walking when the first note reached her ears. It was soft, barely a whisper at first, like the sound of wind through a flute. But then the music grew clearer, more distinct. Lila paused, her heart beating faster. The melody was familiar. It was the same song she had heard in her dreams, the one that had haunted her for so long. It seemed to call her forward, urging her to follow. Without thinking, Lila walked toward the sound, her feet moving as though guided by an invisible hand. The deeper she went into the forest, the stronger the melody became. filling her mind with a strange sense of peace and unease. The trees parted ahead, revealing a small clearing bathed in soft golden light. In the center of the clearing stood an ancient stone structure covered in moss and vines. At the foot of the stone monument lay a small wooden chest. The melody came from within the chest, its sound so powerful now that it seemed to vibrate in her bones. Lila knelt down, her hands trembling as she reached for the chest. It was old, the wood cracked and weathered by time, but as her fingers brushed against it, a jolt of energy shot through her. The music grew louder, and she felt a sudden pull, like a force was guiding her to open it. She hesitated for a moment, unsure of what lay inside, but her curiosity, as well as the strange pull she felt, urged her to unlock the chest. The latch creaked as she lifted it, revealing a small silver pendant resting on a bed of velvet. Lila picked up the pendant, feeling a strange warmth seep into her skin as her fingers brushed the cool metal. It was beautiful, delicate, with intricate designs swirling around a central glowing gem. It was unlike anything she had ever seen. As soon as she touched it, the melody reached its peak, a powerful, ethereal sound that seemed to fill the entire forest. Then, just as suddenly, it stopped. Lila stood in the clearing, holding the pendant in her hands, her mind spinning. What was this thing? Why had it called to her? And why did she feel as though something important had just happened, something she couldn't fully understand? Suddenly, a voice broke through the silence. Did you hear it? The voice was soft yet strong, like a whisper carried on the wind. Lila spun around, searching for the source of the voice. Her heart leaped into her throat. Standing at the edge of the clearing was a figure, a man cloaked in dark robes, his face hidden beneath a hood. He stood perfectly still as though he had been waiting for her. "Who are you?" Lila asked, her voice shaking despite herself. The man did not answer right away. Instead, he took a step forward, his presence radiating an otherworldly calm. "You are the one," he said, his voice barely more than a murmur. "The one who was meant to find it." Lila frowned, confused. "Find what?" The man's eyes, though shadowed, seemed to shine with an ancient knowledge. "The pendant. It is the key to everything. The key to what?" Lila's mind raced, but she could not make sense of his words. The man stepped closer, his movements slow but purposeful. "To your past. To the answers you seek. You have always known this moment would come." Lila's hand tightened around the pendant. "I don't understand." "What do you mean?" "I don't even know who you are." The figure did not respond at once. He glanced down at the pendant in her hand. "You will understand soon enough. The forest has chosen you, Lila, but beware. Not all choices come without a price." Lila's heart skipped a beat. "What price?" The man's gaze softened, and for the first time she saw a hint of sorrow in his eyes. "That is something you must discover for yourself." He turned away, vanishing into the shadows of the trees. Lila stood frozen, the pendant still warm in her hands. She didn't know whether to feel comforted or frightened by his words. The music had stopped, leaving only the eerie silence of the forest behind. But as the last echoes of the strange melody faded, Lila realized something deep inside her. This journey was only just beginning.